Hi, Kate.
Hi.
This is so exciting to actually have someone here rather than looking at someone down the screen. So this is the first time we've done this. The sun is shining. It's absolutely beautiful. And I want to introduce my dear friend, Kate,
Hi.
to everybody. So
Yeah.
there is a reason I brought Kate in for Fizz and Tell this week. And Kate, I want you to just introduce yourself.
Myself. So my name's Kate. Gosh, I hate to say it, but I'm actually nearly 60. Um, I'm divorced. I'm in a relationship. I have a fantastic job. I have 2 grown-up children and 3 grandchildren. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Wonderful. And you have an incredible job as well, don't you, Kate?
I do. I feel very fortunate. So I work as a special effects makeup artist. I do film, theatre, live events. I do workshops with young people. I gallivant all around the country having a great time.
I can't keep up. I can't keep up with your Facebook posts and your Instagram posts. It's like you're either chopping someone's arm off or you're body painting or creating some awful horror scene.
I know, I do. I love horror. It's a weird thing, but yeah, I specialise in horror. I'm in the middle of a clown horror, probably everybody's nightmare.
That is my biggest nightmare.
But it's also panto season, so I'm doing all the media launches for the big pantos in the UK. So yeah, I'm swinging from one to the other at the moment. But yeah,
it's never a dull moment.
It's never a dull moment, and it's a brilliant job. Love it. Yeah,
and you're fantastic at it. You are fantastic at it. I love seeing all your things. And also Natalia's been your model when she was younger.
Yeah,
so my daughter was Kate's model many years ago with her best friend, who's Kate's sister's daughter. And the pair of them used to walk around with limbs severed, blood pouring out of them. And I go, oh, you've seen Kate.
Yeah.
I'm playing in Kate's toolbox again. So Kate, we both went through a divorce at the same time.
Yeah.
And I want to show people that there's life after divorce.
Yes.
It can be just as challenging after a divorce.
Yes.
As we know. And your story is really rather extraordinary because not only did you go through the turmoil of a divorce and then starting a new relationship, but that you then had the turmoil of a media intervention, which was incredibly traumatic. But let's start with your divorce.
Okay.
Because you instigated it, didn't you?
I did. I didn't have an affair. It was never about anyone else. It was actually about me, and that sounds really selfish. But we'd been together a long time, and I felt that he wasn't part of any part of my life. We had nothing in common. I guess we used to, and when the children were young and that sort of thing.
How old were you when you met him?
Oh gosh, I was like 17. So yeah, it was young. We got married quite quickly and we had children. I was 23, 24 when I had my first child. And I don't regret any of that. I loved everything, but my life evolved, and I suppose with age you do evolve, but also my job kind of really took off. So I wasn't doing what I do now when we were married, at the beginning. And so I did have a big career. I had this big career change just at the sort of as I entered my 30s, and that really took off. And my job is really interesting. I meet so many interesting people and I go to so many interesting places, and every day is different. But when I'd come home, there was nothing. There was no interaction, no asking, nothing. And I got to a point after, 15 years and thought, do you know what? I just want to share my life, what I do, with someone that is interested in what I do. I don't want to just do this on my own. And also he was very much, he'd go to work. He always had it was a sort of 9-to-5 job really. And then when he'd come home, that was it. Work had finished. And and he wouldn't talk. I never knew about the people he worked with. I didn't know. I knew nothing because he didn't want to talk about it. I don't know why, but so there was no, chat at the end of the day. Nothing like that. And I just thought, we're going on 2 weeks holiday a year, not really got anything to chat about because not really interested in anything I do. And I just thought, I can't spend another 40 years doing this.
Yeah.
And I just feel so alone. And I did feel alone, even though in my work life, which took up most of every day and a lot of my nights, I was surrounded by people, literally. And I've made so many good friends who are still really good friends. But I just felt totally alone. And there were two big moments that pinpointed that and made me think, no, I can't do this. So I did instigate it, and I feel awful for having done that and ruined somebody's life that was very happy to just keep going forward with that life. And I felt the bitch, I really did. But I had to think of myself and my future.
And it gets to the point where there's nothing worse than feeling lonely when you're actually in a relationship. It's better to be alone and lonely than it is to be in a relationship
100%.
and lonely. And it's something that, we work with a lot of couples, and I know it wasn't an easy decision for you, but it was the right decision. And it was the right decision for both of you. And I know people talk about being selfish and, making a selfish decision to end a marriage. But actually, sometimes if you're not giving them the best of you, you're not being true and honest with that person.
And I hope that now, I mean, obviously my children see him all the time, and I hope that he feels happy and comfortable in his life. I wouldn't wish for anything horrible, because that's not me. I did this maybe for both of us. I don't know. I don't know.
And I think women, how old were you at the time, Kate?
I was coming to the end of I was sort of late 40s. Yeah.
And it's interesting because a lot of couples that I work with, and a lot of women who are wanting to get out of a marriage, it's that 40 to 50. It's that decade, isn't it? Where women have this realization, this awakening. And especially, we were both married very young. We both met our ex-husbands when we were teenagers. We change, we grow, we evolve as people. And unless you can grow, change and evolve together, it's never going to work.
No. And not even having children would keep that together.
No, you've got to have the relationship first, haven't you?
Exactly. And I think, especially for women now that have careers, I didn't intend for my, I'm very grateful for my job, but I didn't know that was going to happen. But, women now do have things outside their marriage. And
well, marriages have evolved, haven't they? Relationships have evolved. We as women have evolved. We were talking with Alana last week about how we're the first generation of women, and we were speaking about this earlier. We're the first generation of women who have got an identity outside of a marriage, actually, which has never happened.
No. I'm known as Kate. Oh, she's the horror makeup artist. I'm not known as the wife of so and so.
His horror Kate. But actually, horror Kate moved on. And you're lovely, Kate. You're horror Kate. You do horrible things with people. But you're lovely, you're warm, you're engaging, you're an incredible sister, an incredible aunt, an incredible friend, and an even better mum and granny. And we have so many different hats that we wear as women, that even though work takes up a huge chunk of that, we're still juggling sometimes 10, 15 other hats in our lives.
Only today, last night, I wrote a list of everything I have to do today, and I set alarms. I have 4 alarms on my phone for today, just so I remember where I've got to be and with who I've got to be and at what time I've got to be there. It's just mad, and every day, because there's no routine in my life, which
Well, every
I
day's
love.
different, isn't it?
Yeah. I've never been a routinal person. I just have not been able to do that. So every day is different. So I literally have to live by my diary. It's all written down. It's like
Very organised.
Yeah.
So Kate, talk me through moving on and what actually moving on looked like for you. How old were you when you moved on, and how did you meet Jay?
So I was coming to the end of my 40s, and I'd made that conscious decision to leave, which was difficult. I had my two very best friends who both were going through cancer, and sadly I lost both of them within 3 months of each other. It was a really hard time, so I moved from my house. I lost my two best friends, and I had a horrendous car accident. It was awful. So that awful year.
It always happens like that.
It does.
Do you know what? Whenever you go through a divorce, it's not just a divorce. And I'm not trying to put anyone off going through a divorce if you need to divorce, but just be prepared for. There's this spin-off effect. It's almost as if you're punished for it in some way.
It's strange because obviously, I don't know, all just happened within that time, and but I got through it.
Phoenix from the flames.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, I am a strong character. I am, and maybe that's really helped me. But
you're resilient.
It was hard. I moved in with one of my friends while she was going through chemo and everything. She had a little baby, a 3-year-old, which was just so sad. But I moved in with her, which kind of made the moving out of the marriage a bit easier.
It's transitional.
And I did that for 6 months, and that was while we sold the house, and then I got my own place. And I am eternally grateful for my own little place. It's tiny. I have a beautiful, huge garden.
Oh, you do. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I love my garden. It's beautiful, and it's been my sanctuary. It really has.
That's how I feel about my garden.
Yeah.
We've said this before, that our gardens seem to be we can just go out. And I think it's that being in nature. And it's feeling the sun, feeling every season. There's something really magical about the garden and nature.
And just being able to go out there and immerse myself in, because it's so peaceful and quiet. I'm only literally 5 minutes from the centre of town, which I love. So I got my house, and I went through the marriage. The breaking up of the marriage sounds awful, wasn't painful for me. It was a relief. Such relief.
But then you feel guilty about feeling relieved, isn't it? It's that double-edged sword.
But then I had all the other things going on with the car accident and my two friends. So as I moved into my place, there was all this stuff going on, plus I was working through it. And then also trying to turn my place from a sort of 1970s weird place into something that I loved. And I love it. Every day I walk in there and I'm still so grateful for it. I love it.
I wake up every day and I'm grateful. It can be grey and miserable and dull, or it can be brilliant sunshine like today, which there's nothing I'm not grateful for in that transition that's come out of being your safe place. But then you met Jay.
Excuse me. Yes. So when I felt settled, I started dating.
That was always fun, wasn't it?
I did.
We won't scare you with the horror stories that Horror Kate could relate on this.
I went through the usual swipe left, right apps, and I had some great dates. I did have a laugh, and I did have a bit of a party.
We didn't take it too seriously at that point, did we? Neither of us did. No.
But I guess really, I wasn't thinking I want to be single for the rest of my life. So I did want to date someone that actually I hoped would have a future to it. So eventually I joined Match.com. They're rather adverts out there. But I thought I'm going to pay for a subscription rather than do all this free stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe that in part of me, I thought, oh,
It was a
you'll get
commitment
someone
in paying, maybe.
yeah,
as well,
and you'll get someone
psychologically.
slightly more genuine than anyone else. Anyway, this is me down to a T. I wrote your profile that you write. I wrote rules. Now, I'm not a person that likes.
Did I not edit it for you?
Probably
not.
I don't know.
I think you probably hid it from me, didn't you?
I had 6 rules in my
God.
profile.
Oh God, what were they?
And so my first rule was you must like dogs.
Oh yeah, well, yes.
That's a given.
What are the deal breakers?
There's no point being with a guy that doesn't like
Hang
dogs.
on, Kate, can we just go back a second? Did you write these are my rules?
Yes.
You didn't?
Yeah, I did. I said, hi, this is me, but there's no point reading on if you're not. I need rules because I don't want to waste my time or your time. Basically.
So that was a red flag in the first place.
Yeah. Anyway, so must like dogs.
Yeah.
Must like food.
Yeah. Well, we're all big foodies, aren't we?
Food shopping and food cooking. And then I wrote a little bit because so each little rule had a little paragraph with it that I was married to a vegetarian who was very
not there's anything wrong with being
no,
vegetarian.
absolutely not. But he only had a couple of meals really that he would eat, and it just meant that when we went out for a meal, even when we were with friends, it had to be geared for him. You know, if there was something lovely on the menu and we'd all go, oh, wow, that looks really nice, we'd end up not going there because there wasn't anything for him. That's changed a bit now because restaurants are easier to go in. Yeah. But anyway, I wrote that I wanted someone to enjoy food shopping, going around the food markets, cooking, enjoying a good meal.
It's a whole process.
Yeah, that was important to me. Also, I didn't want anyone dressed in sort of man from CNA clothes, that kind of like next clothing. I wanted somebody. Yeah, I did.
Oh my God.
No
wonder you ended up with Jay.
I wanted somebody with a bit of.
Was it the only one who applied?
It didn't apply.
Apply to be on Kate's love life.
But I just wanted someone with a bit. I'm a bit of a quirky dresser, and
they had to like wearing black.
Also, I like dressing up for events. And taking a bit of care in, like, instead of just
you
throwing
didn't want
on
someone who had the dad wardrobe.
No,
and a dad bod to go with
it. So there was those 3. Okay. There was must be funny.
Okay. Humor important.
I had long enough with someone that wasn't funny. What else was there?
I'm dreading to think the last 2.
God, I can't. They'll come back to me. I think they're probably still out there because somebody I met, a friend of ours, said, Kate, you do realise you're still on. Like, I need to delete that.
No. Oh no.
Anyway, I did. Well, literally within the first week, this man messaged me, and I thought, so instantly I looked at the picture and I thought, well, I'll have a bit of that. Liked the picture.
See, women are visual too.
Yeah, I really liked the picture. And then I messaged and I read his profile, and I immediately said to him, oh, you look really great, but you do realise I'm older than you.
What's the age gap?
Well, he replied, I do realise that, but it's not a problem for me, and I hope it's not for you. I thought, oh, okay. Interest peaked. So
it's good for the soul, isn't it?
Yeah. And then another rule was got to fit in with an unconventional lifestyle.
And what about the unconventional family?
Well, there's that as well.
We all have these unconventional families.
Yeah. So the unconventional lifestyle was something about driving down the A2 at midnight, eating burgers on the side of the road, because that often I find myself coming out of London. I've not eaten for like 12 hours and I'm starving and I have to stop at that place. So
and no one's going to slate you for it or tell you off for it.
And I am not a 9-to-5 person. That was the rule. Don't be 9-to-5, because I will never be 9-to-5. And everything that I had said, he kind of was that person.
It didn't put him off.
No. Anyway, we started messaging. But the weird thing was, I was going through my other friend who was passing from cancer. And I didn't tell him that because I thought that might make me sound a bit weird.
Yeah.
So we chatted, and I was down in her house for a month. And I came back just before Christmas, and we had been messaging, and we decided to meet on New Year's Eve for a coffee. So
that's a good way to end the year and start the year.
And it, like, you know, if it's no good, then I start the new year fresh. Anyway, so we said,
redo that profile.
So we arranged to meet at 11. I said I don't want to meet in my town because everyone knows me. I didn't want people going, oh, there she is. So I drove over, which was an hour away, which was perfect. Oh yeah, that was the other thing, because I had a little radius, because I don't want to date someone that's like,
no,
you know,
an hour's good.
An hour's good. Yeah. So
little tip, an hour's good.
Yeah. So I pulled into this parking space, and as I reversed in, I looked in my wing mirror and I could see him sitting in the car next to me and
watching you.
Yeah, watching me reverse.
No, there's nothing worse.
And I thought, oh, I like that. He's got there early.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I turned and I looked out of the window and I just smiled and he just laughed. Anyway, we met.
How many times did it take you to
I went straight.
Oh, good girl.
I'm a good parker. I have sensors in my car.
So do I.
So we met at 11 and we didn't finish our coffee for 9 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, we literally just talked non-stop. And it was just really nice. We went to a place that just had sofas and we sat and chatted, and we just had,
it was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so easy. They closed because it was New Year's Eve and they were chucking everyone out. So we went for a drink, and we were there for a few hours, and then they were like, because it was New Year's Eve, they were getting ready for there. So we said goodbye. We had a little kiss, and that was it. And then
I love hearing people's stories.
It was really nice. And then we didn't stay together until Valentine's night. So New Year's Eve through to Valentine's night, we dated, proper dating.
Yeah,
real proper dating. And it was important for us both. Really important. And for Valentine's, we went to Brighton and we stayed in the most amazing boutique hotel. And we just had a really great time. It was lovely. And that was 8 years ago.
Wow.
But it's been rocky.
It has been rocky. It has been rocky.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay's work as an influencer and a model and an actor.
Yes.
So he's got presence. I'm just building up the story as to how we're going on to the next part.
Yeah.
And he's a big guy, isn't he? He's
physically, 6'4",
6'4", but he is that Viking, isn't he? He is the best way to describe him is like a Viking. But he's like a gentle giant.
Yeah.
He really is. So when I saw what I saw on the internet that you posted and reached out to your friendship group on your, it's sort of the intimate side of your Facebook, not your big profile.
No, I keep Facebook purely for friends.
Yes,
literally, I think it's my own private space.
Yeah, and I think that's important. It wasn't anything on business. It wasn't anything in the public. It was friends. This has happened to me.
Yeah,
what do I do?
Yeah,
and explain.
It was just
really
awful. So we'd been together 7 years, and we didn't move in together. Jay moved in with me until lockdown. We felt that we wouldn't get through lockdown being apart and not being able to be together. And that was a conscious decision. We were going
it was the right decision anyway.
We were hopefully going to move in together. It just brought it a bit quicker. So we'd had a fantastic lockdown. It was really lovely. And then last summer, unbeknown to me, so he has quite bad mental health, for which he's medicated, and we've always talked about it, always been open. But
it's never brought a problem though in your relationship.
No, not the
from
mental health.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
he is diagnosed with personality disorder. Now, towards the beginning of our relationship, I introduced him to Instagram.
Yeah.
Woe betide that day. That's how I feel about Instagram. And he didn't have any social media up until that point because he'd had bad experience with an ex in the past. So he didn't do social media, but I always thought, oh, Instagram would be good for him because he's very visual. He loves that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And unbeknown to me, he was messaging people because he found DMing. And anyway, long story short, he had he said he was going on a job to Cornwall to make an advert, and off he went for a week. And I was away on a job. In fact, I was away on 2 jobs while he was away. And then came back. The day I got back, I opened one of the big national papers, and there he was with this famous woman in a sort of love pose with a little heart symbol, and her looking longingly into his eyes.
Wasn't she one of the Gallagher boys' exes?
Yeah.
So very high profile.
But yeah,
incredibly high profile.
And I had not been told that she was anything to do with it. He hadn't told me anything other than it was a job. And yes, he was making an advert, but he hadn't told me it had all been organised.
You didn't know the details.
And she and he had messaged, and he chose to not tell me that. So instantly I saw it. I'm a very reactive person. I was at my mum's actually when I opened the paper because I don't read the paper. I literally went home and got all his stuff, bin liners, and chucked it out. That was it. And I started messaging him how hateful he was and how hurtful it was. And that was it. End of. So
that wasn't the end of the story.
No,
was it? It was only really the beginning of the story.
Yeah, I was absolutely broken, completely broken. I'm lucky that I have such supportive friends in my life. So everyone was rallying round.
None of us could believe what we were reading. It didn't make sense. It was bits of the puzzle that were missing and didn't make sense.
So I didn't block him. I couldn't do that because that would fill me with anxiety. And we did talk, and I did give him the opportunity to explain. I still think at that point I hadn't been told the full story. But anyway, that was last summer, and we didn't see each other. We had a long time apart. We were messaging. He was saying what he obviously apologizing for everything, but his mental health took a massive hit. He had a breakdown, and then I find, like, I'm supporting you. I need the support. It was really hard, hard. So I suppose gradually we just started chatting, talking, occasionally seeing each other, but not making any commitments. And eventually getting to a point where I knew desperately that he wanted to be back in a loving, secure relationship, and with you, and was mortified that he had done that to me. I think I'm a very forgiving person, and I can forgive. It's hard to forget, but I suppose I've always I've allowed myself to be in control of what I want for the relationship.
But I want to take you back another little step, because when all of that happened, you were contacted and did a piece in the paper as well about your thoughts, what you were going through, and it was part of you processing what had happened and putting your side of the story across. Was there any truth in it that he was with this woman, or was it all a publicity stunt?
No, he wasn't with her at all. There was no relationship. Maybe she had thought, oh, when he arrives down here, there might be, I don't know what she thought, but
because that's the extraordinary part, is it's not that you're forgiving a man for having an affair, because he didn't have an affair.
Didn't have an affair.
There wasn't an affair. He was just as much a victim in this as you were.
And
that's what led to his breakdown.
And I think he's a very literal person, and if he was talking to someone, he would basically just think he was talking to someone. But what he didn't understand was that some women don't have, that's not they've
got a different agenda.
They've got a different agenda.
And we were talking about that earlier, weren't we, about women's agendas with men.
And if he's
the girl code goes out the window, doesn't it? It really does. She knew he was in a relationship.
Well, I don't know that she did. Maybe he didn't say.
Social media.
She did after, yes. But obviously she blocked him. She didn't even respond. She made one phone call to him. And
did she apologise?
No, she didn't apologise. And then he was blocked from everything, dropped from the advert. Obviously, I was never able to contact her, so anyway, I did a bit of tit for tat thing, and I did respond in the papers. Maybe
your
because
response was great though. How
maybe.
Did you feel when you did you feel, was it relief? Was it
I just
got
felt
my story?
I felt I wanted to get my side out. But because I don't know what happened with her at the after that, that's fine. So I just wrote it out. That's it, gone. But I suppose just we've really worked. It took a long time to build again on what we had.
And that's why I wanted you here, because resilience is one thing, but you had a grenade with the full force of the media, with the full force of someone incredibly high profile coming at you and literally throwing your world upside down very publicly. And it's how do you recover from that? You've gone through a divorce, you've lost two of your best friends, you've gone through all of that, and then you find the love of your new life, your midlife, and then this happens. And it's not an affair that you can go, fuck you, and all this sort of stuff. Excuse me for swearing, but that's literally what you do. It's more than that. It's deeper than that.
And you feel really betrayed. But I suppose so since then, I told Jay that he needs to go into therapy or have his medication looked at. He had actually been on the same medication for something like more than 10 years
without a review or anything. And it stops working.
Well, exactly. We went to see his GP, and I went to every appointment, and it was as much about me as it was about him. And he was told that his medication probably hadn't been working for years because it needed reviewing, and everything, the body changes, everything changes, the mind changes, brain changes. So he was actually taken off all his medication, which was really hard, and then started on new meds, a new regime of medication, and we went through all that together. And that was really important for me, knowing that he needed to do that for me.
And for himself as well, actually. He must have felt very disjointed.
And he opened up to the psychologist in front of me, and that was good for us both. So we are back to being us, and having mad times again, and that I still whenever he has his phone, I do have anxiety. Because I don't know.
Do you have an open phone policy?
Well, we don't, and maybe we should, because I'm quite happy for anyone to look at my phone. There's literally nothing on it. Maybe that's something we need to do.
It's been
So
one hell of
it's-
a journey, Kate. Hasn't it?
yeah,
It's been one hell of a journey. What are your learnings from this, that advice that you give other people now from what you've been through?
I think it's very hard to stay strong, but and everybody is different, and I am naturally, I guess, a strong, independent person. I've always been told that.
You all are, all you sisters.
Yeah,
You're made of strong stuff.
That's our mum, I guess.
know.
Yeah, I just picked her up from having coffee, and she was like out with her 92-year-old buddies, like
Still raving.
and she was still telling me directions on how to get there. Like, okay, yeah,
It's fabulous. Long may it continue.
Yeah, but I think it's about being strong and saying, this is what I would like, and not being selfish about that, and knowing that it's okay to say, if this is how we're going forward, then we're going forward in this way.
And we know you like a list and a plan and rules.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's probably actually probably what keeps you sane in a way, is the fact that you've got these boundaries and these really strong boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, there is only one rule at the moment, and the one rule is that if I say, who are you messaging, who are you talking to, like, is it, then I need the answer.
Yeah.
And I need that, and
that's to build trust then, isn't it?
Yeah. So I do get anxiety from that. However, and I know we were going to try and touch on this, the menopause.
Absolutely, absolutely, because that brings a whole host of anxiety. And I was going to say to you, you've gone through all of this, now going through menopause. What did you do?
Well, when I don't know how it all happened, but so I had a hysterectomy when I was in my early 30s. So that was, but it was just something that I needed to do medically. I had one ovary left, and my doctor always said that will work in the same way as two. So, you'll just probably go through menopause naturally. And I did. I suddenly found myself one day having a hot flush. Literally, this thing rose up my body. It was like filled me, sort of all encompassing, this hot sweat thing. And I was like, oh my God, what on earth is this? Oh yeah, this must be the menopause.
Yeah.
And I had 2 more, and then thought, I am not doing this. I cannot live like this. I can't do my job. I can't talk in front of people. I can't function with this. So I went straight to my GP, and luckily we're the same age and we get on really well. And so I said, right, I just want HRT. So I went on to HRT. I tried a couple of different things. I have huge allergies. So I ended up with the gel, which has suited me perfectly. And I've been on that, God, I don't know, 10 years or something.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it's helped you.
Yeah, it really has. And I know with the thing that happened last summer, I was really full of anxiety. But after a few months, I thought, I'm just going to try an extra pump of my magic gel. And I stopped crying. I was like, oh, well, okay, this is actually...
The magic's just increased.
So, I don't know. Yeah, my magic gel. I love it.
Love that. Like, when you find something that works, and I think that's the key. Everybody's body's different, and it's finding something that works for you to get you through. Because everyone's symptoms are different. Yeah, hot flush. Mine's kind of awake all night. Wide awake all night. Yeah. My brain's on fire at the moment. It's ridiculous. So it's finding things that actually work for whatever your symptoms are. And I think sometimes you see all these products and it's just a minefield, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, I tried a couple of things, but because of the allergies, my body just couldn't cope with it. And luckily for me, the gel just worked beautifully. It's easy for me to manage, and I've just carried on being me. I don't feel like menopause has even affected me in any way.
Well, that's
it's really weird.
It's not weird, it's wonderful.
I know, so because so many people do struggle, and that's really awful that they do have that struggle. But I have just literally felt like the same person, like physically,
which is amazing. And I know there's one other thing I wanted to ask you, because we've spoken about this before, and your sister and I speak about it
Mm.
all the time,
Yeah.
is there's a girl code, isn't there?
Yeah.
And when you're going through divorce,
Yeah.
and when you're going through tough times, you need your mates.
Yes.
And you also
Yeah.
need to know who's on your side.
100%.
Because I think that's, without your tribe, it's a big struggle.
Yeah.
It's a massive upward struggle.
Yeah.
But there's also those that you find out are not only not on your tribe, that you thought were on your tribe.
Yes.
But there are also those that almost want to dig the knife in even further and make it more traumatic. And we were talking about in sort of my mother's time, when my mother got divorced, you know, she thought she was the pariah, with people closing doors and locking their husbands up as if she was the wild woman of the village. Heaven forbid, I wish she had been. What fun would have been to talk about? I'd have brought her on and went, hey, Mum, let's chat about that one. But it was, divorce is so taboo, and there are still people that treat women without knowing the full facts. They go automatically on a different side and turn against you as a woman. I've experienced it. I witnessed my mother go through it. Your sister and I have had many experiences of it, and it's I want you to explain what yours, because your stuff's been extraordinary with your situation.
With that last year, there was one friend in particular excuse me, she that I'd known for a long time, and she wasn't somebody that I see a lot, but I classed as a good friend, and I messaged her. Actually, it was about a work thing, and I didn't get a response. I was like, oh, okay, I'll message again. A couple of days later, again, no response.
Which was unusual.
Like, that's really weird, because she'd always go, oh, hi, I'll catch up with you later, or nothing, literally nothing. And it turned out she'd taken that opportunity to finding out that Jay and I were not together, to message him. And
was she single?
Yeah. So
what do you think that was all about? I mean, it's plainly obvious, but you know, let's just, from your point of view,
I think she just took the opportunity, just thought, and I was really hurt, because she was very much one of these girl power people, you know, stick with the female side, you know, the women and everything, you know. Even
she was the last person you expected to actually not only turn on you and ignore you, but go after your man.
And not even a conversation like, I'm really sorry to see, you know, but I'm friends with you both, and you know, I don't want to, but nothing, just nothing. And that wizened me up a little bit, and I thought, okay, I am a very trusting person, but there are obviously some people out there that see an opportunity. Luckily, he hadn't seen the opportunity, so
And what did he say about it? Did he show you messages?
He just said, she had messaged him, and they still chat about the odd work thing. She's moved away, luckily. But
was she a threat, do you think?
No, not
to your relationship.
No, she wasn't. But I just was hurt that she didn't message me and say, really sorry to see what's going on, but I'm here for you both. And that's what a good friend should have done.
No, absolutely. So anyone that's watching this, if your friends are turning against you, or going quiet, or withdrawing, people do pick sides. They do. Whenever there's a divorce, whenever there's a separation, a breakup, people do pick sides. And you always, what's that old saying? You always find out who's on your team. You always find out who your friends are when you go through something that's traumatic. And I think that's something that we've both learned from. Other people that we know have learned from, is you've got to really know who your inner circle is. And that does change. That inner circle can and does change. But don't take it personally. It's their problem, not yours.
And you shouldn't let what people think of you affect you.
No, it's often their own stuff that's going on.
But you know, like you, I have a very close, I have such lovely friends. I have a wide circle of friends, but I also have a close circle of friends. And they're all, you know, I could phone anyone or just turn up on anyone's doorstep and know that everything's going to
There's
be
a
fine.
cup of tea or a glass
Yeah,
of wine,
and
a hug,
that hug,
a bed for the night if you need it, and you're supported. And I think that girlfriend bit is so crucial in surviving all of this roller coaster that we go through with relationships. It's imperative. So that girl code and that inner circle is something that needs to be nurtured. It's something that needs to be appreciated, respected as well. And if you are someone that wants to go on both sides, be open about it.
Yes.
Just be open about it.
Don't hide things, because you can't keep secrets, you know.
It all comes out.
It will all come out, and you need to be open and honest and just giving and trusting, I think.
Absolutely. Hey, we could talk all day.
Yeah, we could.
We often do. We probably will carry on. But I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so open, so vulnerable about the trauma. And I just wish you and Jay every happiness moving on.
Fine. I just want to say we're not living together at the moment, but we plan to at some point. But it's working as we are now at the moment. He's got commitments with his parents, and we're planning.
But it's nice. There's no right or wrong way.
No.
You don't have. There's so many relationships that we know that people are in lovely relationships. They don't live together. You don't have to live together to be in a committed relationship.
That's right.
So it's whatever works for you guys as a couple.
And
you work at your own pace. No one needs to dictate what you guys do or tell you it's right or wrong.
No.
So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If you like what we're doing, it's all very new. It's all off the cuff. Nothing's edited. We're Fizz and Tell. Well, I'm Fizz and Tell, and I have lovely guests like my lovely Kate. There's not any fizz in there, but we'll probably have some fizz later at another time. But like and subscribe, and every week talking to someone different and talking about life, women over 40, the challenges we have, and for men to understand what we're all about as well. Little few insider tips. Bye for now.